Yes, it's bank holiday Monday and I am on site this morning. And the reason, I look a mess. I look a mess every day. The reason I'm on site this morning is because it is bank holiday, but we got to keep going. We got to get this, we've got to get all jobs done. But there's a sense of urgency because of the weather. The weather will just mess us up. And what we're able to do today, the weather's not going to be good today, but we're able to cut the porcelain under the awning, and we're going to make full use of that awning. So we're going to be cutting this porcelain this morning. Well, here we go. This blade here, this is from Elite Stone Tools. You can see the blade on that. I've had this absolutely ages. It's been absolutely incredible blade, and do you know, I think it'll still keep cutting now. It really will. But this is the new blade. You can see the difference on it, and what we got to do with these new blades is you just got to run it through a few times in a different product just to ensure that you don't get any fragmenting, because when blades are new they just need to bed in a little bit. But you can see the difference in the blade there in comparison to that blade. This blade's done so much work. I'm going to keep this blade. This is going to be the Toyota of Top Gear blade. It's unbelievable. Basically, when you're taking these blades off as well, if you look at it, there's the rotation of the blade, there's the arrow on it. So it's quite simple. Just make sure you put it on that way around. There we are. You can see the blade, the direction of the blade, which the rotation, there it is there. That's the direction it should be going. Well, what we've done here, we found our center of our slab where we want to do our cut. And what we've done, so we don't have to keep measuring all the time. We've got this timber in place now. We've got some G clamps on there. That's going to ensure that that doesn't move. So we can just slide our slab up each time, making it easier rather than all that measuring and marking. Hopefully that'll be right, but we will check. Okay, you can see this is a tip if you want to see it as a tip or a bit of advice. What we're doing, we're cutting a spare old porcelain slab. It's quite a nice one actually. A spare porcelain slab before we start cutting our slab that we're going to use, our porcelain tile that we're going to use. And the reason for that is that when the blades are new, they can tend to fragment a little bit, so we've got to just watch that. One thing I was going to say there, right, look, we got two, let's have a look down here. We've got two porcelain products here, okay, and probably made by two different companies, but you can see with this, because what they try to do, they try and replicate a certain style, and you can see all the micropores in here. You can see it, you can feel it. And when you feel this one here is totally different again in comparison to this one. So that's the thing that you have to consider when you're using your porcelain. It's not about the porosity value, it's about the pores that are actually created. Look at that. Loads of them in there, because that's just the style. They've probably replicated, I don't know, dare I say it, like a concrete finish? I don't know. But then if you look at this one, there's not so many pores. There's a pattern, but not so many pores, different sorts of pores. And that's what you'll find in when they make these products, depending on where they make them. That's why the Italians and Spanish are good, because the products that they use there are good products. The feldspars and the different types of clay and the silica sands is different there than what they are in other countries. So when choosing your porcelain and you've made a big investment into your project, you actually got to think about what you're using. You don't want to be sort of after it's been laid and thinking, my God, look at the mess of it. Just got to get it right. Do you know, that last blade I had from Elite Stone Tools, it went so far. I mean, it cut so much. Got the new one on now. We're trying to bed it in. We're cutting some porcelain. initially you may get a little bit of fragmenting because the blade is new, but that cut through that absolutely perfect. Let me just show you. If you look at this, this is what I like. It's just absolutely cut nice and straight. We got the stop on here to ensure that we got the same distance, so all is good on a wet, rainy day in Wales. Well, here we are. It's a bank. It's a bank holiday Monday, and I'm with Eloy, and we're at my house. Mi casa, su casa, mi amigo.
Mi casa, su casa, mi amigo.
Mi casa, su casa. See. So we've been cutting some ceramic or porcelain, and what I wanted to do, we're having a nice cup of coffee, but there's no bacon sandwiches.
Probably later. Why not?
But what I want to show you is this. So
Come
here we are. The intention is what we're going to do. Let me get this down now. This is a porcelain slab, an old one. And what we're going to do now, this is a different type of porcelain. You can see it. I don't know the origin of this one. I don't even know where it came from. I get samples sent to me all the time. But there you are. We're going to stick those on here like this. Okay. And it's going to simulate like a patio. These are like 200s. These, so there we are. We got these as well. Do we have any more? Or is that it?
No.
Here we are. Yeah, we got another one to cut there. We got another one to cut there. So we'll have 9 of these on here. We'll cut the other one up now. And then what we're going to do, we're going to stick those on there, so it's like a patio. And then we're going to use. I think we're going to use a bal adhesive. Bal have an adhesive for sticking these down. We're going to stick that on there, and then we're going to grout it with a cementatious grout. Generally, a lot of the grout systems on the market are cementatious grout. I think without doubt the only product you should be using for grouting porcelain is a cementatious grout. And so those cementatious grouts, let me just stop there. Well, there you are. So this is the Rubi DX. There it is. You can see it, the Rubi DX 250 1400. It's absolutely incredible saw, and it's getting through these cuts at a rapid pace. If you look down here, look at the cuts we've done down here now. Loads of them, and the reason it's cutting well is because it's the blade as well. The blade plays a major part. You need to change the blade. If you know. Unlike me sometimes, where I keep those blades in for some times, but I have no problem with it. And but by changing the blade regular and making sure that you include that blade in on that job, if you need 2 blades or 3 blades, you'll get to know your machine and how much that blade will cut. But you want a blade that's going to work efficiently and not put the strain on the motor. Last cut we've got to do. There you are. I think it's done about 40 pieces, isn't it? It's cut. There's 40 pieces now. You can see it there. It's cut through no time. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to set the camera up so you can actually, or get Eloy to film it now, and you'll be able to see me cutting this in real time. And do we go through one pass or do we do several passes? But the important thing is not to let the motor labour. If you're forcing it, it's no good at all. You've got to allow the blade to cut. Yeah, great saw. It's lightweight. It's done the job. Let's just cut it. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut this and we're going to show you in real time how long it takes, but I'm not going to rush it. I'm going to take my time. if you look closely down here now, Eloy, if you just come close and just look at the cut all the way along there, no fragmenting at all whatsoever, and it's gone all the way through, look, taking everything off. Beautiful porcelain as well, I might add. I did let the blade labour a little bit on there because I was probably under a little bit of pressure, just to show you. I don't know what your expectations are on how long should it take to cut some porcelain. It's about the blade, it's about the user, the person that's using the machine as well at the same time. Are there better saws out there? Well, there probably is, but they come at a far superior price as well. This beautiful little saw is going to allow you to sort of move it around quite easy. I can get this in the back of the van by myself, and I've done it many times. Load it in the van myself. It's got the wheels on the front. It's lightweight. You're able to get inside, pull it down that side path down to the back of the house. Unfortunately, we won't be able to do it on this job we're on now because we've got a big slope going down. So that's why I'm cutting at home today, making use of today under the awning and trying to stay dry and not making a mess of that garden. But the fact is, it's a great saw. It works perfectly. And do you know the thing is about it is that you can use this saw. I think it's in something like a 15 meter cubic capacity room for 3 hours without a dust mask. This is a game changer. I can't even remember the last time I even used a disc cutter. And for years, and there's nothing worse with those disc cutters, right, is that sometimes we never use the mask, and we should have done, okay? But with this, you've got the water suppressant, keeping the dust down, and it's clean. No fuel, no fumes, no mess. Generally, not a lot of maintenance. The only thing I would say with these saws, you've got to make sure that you clean them off. Don't get pressure washing all this. Okay, it's got the rating for outdoors. You can use it in the wet, but don't. It's not ideal for a pressure washer. So you can pressure wash this part, make sure the pump's clean, and obviously give it an oil now and again on all the working parts. Not bad. So there we are. There's the porcelain cut ready to go. So important to understand the products that you actually work with, and a lot what I'm seeing of at the moment is that a lot of people are telling me, and they send me messages and pictures of porcelain that's been grouted and where they've had bleeding of the grout into the porcelain, the discoloration, and that's where it enters the end of the porcelain. And the reason for that is all to do with the manufacturing process of the porcelain, and that's a good indication of how good that porcelain is, because if you have the bleeding, that basically means that it has different micropores and it's been made in a different way, allowing the dye and the color from the grout to ingress into the porcelain. So that's when you've grouted it and you see along those edges. So important to understand what you're buying, and when you go to these suppliers or whether you're buying online, they've got to give you the correct information. I'm going to sit down now because I've just had my dinner, chicken pie, mashed potatoes and peas with a little bit of cheese. It went down well. So here we are. This is the maximum post mix, okay, from Maxreet. Maxreet, www.maxreet.co.uk. In comparison to other products, it's the same volume, it's the same strength, but half the weight. Yeah, half the weight. Technology is absolutely incredible these days. That's what that feather is for. You can get more in your van. If you go to their website, if you speak to Dudley at Maxreet, don't forget your Johnny Boy discount code. What we're doing, preparing to transport our cuts. But what we're doing, the packaging that we've used, that was there, what it arrived in, what it came in, we're using that as basically just to keep it so that it doesn't chip or break. It's so important that when you're using this product that you treat it with respect. Right, come and have a look. Come and have a look at this. So if you come in and have a look down from here now. Just come right the way in. Come close, come close, come close. You can see where you've got all the dust on here, and where it's wet as well. You've got all this dust from here where we've been washing down. So important that before you grout, you've got to make sure all this is out. It's as simple as that. You just got to make sure your patio's nice and clean, your paving's nice and clean. You want to sort of quarantine it, and you want to, we'll give this a good clean before we lay it. Then after we lay it, we'll give it a good clean again. But this can be a problem, and it causes a haze and a bloom all over your paving. So you've got to make sure that comes off. Well, here we are. That's how they've arrived. Put those cushions in the way. Make sure they didn't slide, but they didn't slide because they're on the paper. We took it easy. But now I'm so pleased that we've got this done because they're ready and they're good to go. The only thing is that we've got to get them down those steps. I'm going to let Eloy carry every one of them. Well, there you go. This is our picture frame. This is the 200 by 800, and we've got them all in, which is great. The only thing is, the next job with the picture frame is they've got to go all the way around the garden, all the way around. Yeah, that's going to be not the next job, but basically what we've got to do is put a picture frame all around the proposed artificial grass to house that in, and just bring the two areas together just by having artificial grass there, and then the paving here, the patio. By having a picture frame, it'll just bring it in. There'll be some unity between the rest of the garden and the patio. Well, as I said, we've got the picture frame in. Tomorrow we got to get the cutter around the front, because I prefer using the cutter than some of the smaller saws and grinders, especially when you're going around mano covers or inspection chambers, as I should say. These inspection trays is because the attention to detail it needs a little bit more. But what we're going to do tomorrow, hopefully we're going to get the Rubi at the top. We're going to cut around these, okay? Hopefully it will be like this. If it's dry, great. And then we'll get the other cuts around here, get them all cut in and ready to go. So hopefully then, if we can get them laid tomorrow as well, that means on the Wednesday, we can start thinking, if it's dry, we can start thinking about taking this hump out of this part and losing it throughout the garden. But what we didn't want to do today, we didn't want to be working on that in wet weather. Yes, granted, we've got some sand coming on here now. We've got sand around the corner, but it's better than clay and all that mud. Because the thing is, what you've got to remember is, the more minerals and through soil and foreign particles that is going down in the joints, the more likelihood that it's going to react. So the idea is, once this is finished, we finish paving with this, is that we pressure wash all the joints out completely, get everything out, wash off the bottoms of our feet off completely, get it out. We've got to quarantine it, get it all out, because we don't want those mineral deposits coming up through the grout, because the cementatious grout is breathable. So when you have a little bit of clay or mud at the bottom, there will be deposits coming out there, and sometimes these cementatious grouts are sort of hungry for those minerals in a way. It's difficult to explain, but what we got to try and do is make sure all the joints are all cleaned out, and then before we grout it, the joints are dry. It's got to be dry, okay? You don't want to dilute the grout that you're putting into the for the joints for the system. So there we are. That's it. Coffee time. On one note, I remember my father many years ago saying that the loneliest place in the world was a boxing ring, okay? There's no one else in there with you. But I can assure you, when I've worked by myself over the years, when there's no clients there, no neighbours, and you work in a project like this, I quite like it though. I like the silence. So this is what we're going to be doing later, tomorrow, not today because it's pouring down, and we're going to grout that. We're going to lay it. We're going to put those porcelain units to a slab, and the slab that we're going to stick it to will be a sandstone, because a sandstone will have some porosity and it'll allow the water to run through. So yeah, well, that's it for me for the day. Look at it. It's absolutely hammering down, and it's at this point that you're going to have to speak to your client about, or your next client, to say that you're delayed because of the weather. It just can't be helped. That's all there is to it. So I don't usually work a bank holiday Monday. I had the last one off, but I worked this one and we never got as much done as what we were hoping to do. So there you go.